Man, I woke up this morning, right? I looked at crypto Twitter and I was like, what the hell is going on? So let's take a look at what the hell is going on. Got a new studio, by the way. I love it. You don't care, I know, but I feel like, yeah, let me, But everywhere on crypto Twitter, this market crash is just weird. So I was like, market crash, oh no. And I opened the charts and I'm like, but Bitcoin is like around $113,000, right? Like if you look at this, is this a crash? Is this what we can define as a crash? In that case, the market has been crashing for a long time already. And hey, I don't know what's going to happen, okay? Let me make that clear. But all I know is based on what I see right now, what the hell are we panicking about, right? And when is it actually a good time to maybe step in if you feel like, hey, a down, like it's what a retrace in a bull market is where you buy, right? And a pump in a bear market is where you sell. Well, this is a retrace in a bull market. So overall, this is where you want to buy. But of course, it depends on your position. And also like, hey, what do you want to buy? Do you want to buy Bitcoin? Do you want to buy alts? Do you want to buy ETH? Or do you just simply want to buy the asset that you think is going to reward you most? So let's go over that, man. Welcome to the FOMO Factory. Like the video. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. So I built this insane music studio right here for a long time. And when it was done, I felt like, let me move this into here as well. Better acoustics, looks better, feels better for me. It's further away from my coffee, so maybe I'm gonna get less coffee in a day, and that will be pretty good for me, actually. So $112,000. Now, what happened technically with Bitcoin so far? It is testing the bull market support band, right? In a bull market, there is a bull market support band, and occasionally that gets tested. So far, fine, right? Even if we go below it for a short period of time, it doesn't really matter that much. Most important thing is, though, the 50 weekly moving average, which you see here as the blue line, right? If you look back at this bull market, we basically are always above the 50 SMA, WMA actually, in a bull market, right? If you go back to the previous bull market as well, when you go above it, then it's, pretty much a confirmation that you are in the bull, and then you just go woo, up, right? And even in this huge crash, which was actually a crash in 2021, that's exactly the moving average that got tested. Right, and when we get into a bear market, you see that it functions as resistance. Now we can go back in time and see that this is beautiful support. So far, the 50 weekly moving average comes in at around $100,000. We are now at 112, right? So we have a long way to go before we even start getting bearish, right? Like, we are far from that. Let me tell you this, though. If we go to the 50 MA and we go below it, don't panic sell right away, right? There are wicks below it, like in April. And we all know that April, when a lot of people were actually very scared, that was the best buying opportunity that we got in this year, basically, right? So take advantage of the opportunities instead of being scared with every dip, I would say. That's going to reward you most, right? But, we know that. But now what? What is really going down enough to call it a real good opportunity, right? Well, for the long term, and I mean like a decade, Bitcoin, right? Always Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if it's up or down, just DCA, you'll be fine, right? We all know that if you zoom out, nobody ever regretted DCAing into Bitcoin. And, you could be like, well, I'm buying the top. Yeah, here you bought the top as well. Was that a bad top? Eventually not, right? So, BTC is always a good buy. But then it comes down to, okay, so is Bitcoin the most rewarding in this market? Well, that stage has passed, in my opinion, right? We had the Bitcoin dominance run, which lasted a long time, which was very much up, just like the previous market cycle where Bitcoin just had a moment where it goes up first because it's lower risk, right? So of course people buy into that, but at a certain point, risk, it turns around, right? And that flows into alts, ETH, whatever. Right now, the Bitcoin dominance in the very short term is up, but overall, at the moment, it's in a very weak downtrend, right? So that basically tells you that, hey, BTC compared to the rest of the market is not worth it right now. It was worth it over here, here. Not this area, right? If we zoom in on this, we have big support right here for the Bitcoin dominance, right? It goes back a long time. And now it bounces at support. Hey, that's what like the markets do, right? They bounce at support and they get rejected at resistance, and at a certain point they will break it, right? It's nothing scary, it's nothing weird, it's nothing, different. It's kind of what it's supposed to do. In my opinion, like I said a while back, I think that the Bitcoin dominance could go to around 60.5%. Big resistance, bull market support band, 50 weekly moving average comes in over there, right? So could it have a bounce after such a hard fall? Definitely, right? But if we look at it on the quarterly chart, for example, it's down 10%, man, more than 10%. Like it has been a long time since we saw such a decline. By the matter of fact, it was here in April 2021, 4 years ago, right? So the reversal has started. Now, this is for me obvious, like, okay, it is a bull market, but Bitcoin had its time. So then it leaves us to, okay, alts or ETH. I'm just taking you into my thought process, right? I'm not like, this is the right answer. I don't know. It's just what I'm looking at. So alts or ETH? Well, let's put alts against ETH to find out, right? And this is others against Ethereum, right? And this on the quarter chart puts it a lot in perspective as well. We have a top range, we have a lower range, and it is now here, right? If you put it on the weekly, you can see it a little bit better, of course. Is how it looks like. I converted half of my Ethereum into altcoins somewhere here because it was close enough to the bottom for me. If it gone lower, I would have DCA'd the other half, and it went up in this case, so I didn't, right? So in this case, I have alts that are now worth more against Ethereum, but I'm not selling it for Ethereum right now because if you ask me, there's more up than downside still. But it just takes months to play out, right? This chart is on the weekly, and you see how the chart moves. But overall, on the short term, I don't know. I think that alts against ETH are sitting at some resistance right now. But over the slightly longer term, yeah, like I said, more up than downside. So I am not putting my alts into ETH right now. So if you turn that around and ask yourself the question like, okay, then what should I buy? For me, unbiasedly, it's alts at this moment. It's very simple. Bitcoin dominance, weak. Alts against ETH. Alts are sitting more at an accumulation zone than a distribution phase. And to kind of, confirm that, how's the ETH dominance looking? Right? And, we can take a look at ETH BTC, ETH dollar. I don't care because we know how much money there's in the market right now. So all I care is how is this asset doing compared to the rest of the market, right? Then we have in perspective like, okay, I don't care about finding out if we should buy or sell, right? It's the post-halving year. It's approaching Q4, the most explosive, of course, the market is bullish. Right? So it's for me more about what to buy. So if we look at the ETH dominance, then we can see that, it's ETH season for sure, right? Like this is the ETH run. At this point, people said ETH's dead. ETH's dead. There are better layer ones. It's not fast enough. It's not cheap enough. Nobody uses it. Turns out that it got used more than every other layer one combined timestamp, right? The adoption, it's nuts. It's nuts, right? Of course, ETH wasn't dead. Right? And that led to this pump right here. It wasn't even a pump. It was a full reversal, right? This was nuts. Short term, big resistance, right? So ETH just got rejected finally after this run, actually, at a huge resistance point. That tells me like, okay, ETH dominance can go down short term, right? And I think it should go somewhere around the bull market support band, 50 weekly moving average, whatever, which should be around 12%. Right now, on the chart, there happens to be quite some support there as well. So that makes sense to me. Cool. So then we can look at the altcoin dominance, right? And the altcoin dominance is here. Now, to me, this is looking better than what we have just looked at, right? Bitcoin just started a reversal to the downside, Bitcoin dominance. ETH dominance just had a big run and now temporarily is getting resistance at a big level. So then we look at the altcoin dominance and I'm like, okay, before we zoom in, let's take a look at this. In my eyes, is there more up or downside? Bro, we just came out of a accumulation phase, like we might go back there for sure. But this level, last time we were here, was January 2021. Right like when alt season started, basically. And so I'm like, man, you can be bullish on alts here, or here, or here, right? At the rally, hey, they go again, or here, buy the dip, whatever. Nobody's bullish on altcoins right here. Why? Well, because the price is low, and then you don't want to buy. You only want to buy when it's high, of course, right? I don't know. That's not really, I think, the best way, but it is what it is, right? That's how it works. So I'm looking at this point, and I'm like, this makes more sense than Bitcoin, and more sense than ETH at this moment, at least. Let's zoom in, though. We are below the 50-weekly moving average. We haven't really sustainably broke above that yet, except in this period of 2023, right? But for the last 2 years, basically, we are below that. Cool. Now we are above the bull market support band. Matter of fact, we just tested that here. Like, how you cannot make this up, right? Like, how? Well, anyway, we tested that perfectly. We bounced pretty hard. So this tells me, like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know that this level means something. Right? So alts are, at this moment for me, the best deal. Alts on the Bitcoin pair, alt season chart above the bull market support band. I can't bounced exactly on the 50 weekly moving average. We spend a lot of time below that moving average, right? Most of the time, actually, we spent below that. In December, we had a breakout last year, lasted not for long, and then we got below. A couple weeks ago, we broke above it. Could be a sign, right, that alt season may have started, right? And again, I want to be cautious and careful because I know how people are like, look at altcoins, there's no alt season. I know the confirmation that alt season has started will only occur when things are there, right? But I'm not looking for when things are there because then it's too late to buy, right? So it could be that alt season started, right? We have 3 green months in a row where altcoins outperform Bitcoin. Yeah, last time that happened was a long time ago, right? And over here, this alt season, this wasn't the point where people said alt season started, even not this or this, because it was still a lower high, right? Only here. Yeah, but look where we are. We are already at the top, basically, right? So when most people really feel like, hey, alt season started, sell. Okay, but above the 50 MA. And perfect bounce right there. So this is textbook buy the dip kind of behavior. Like, we can look at crypto Twitter a lot and be like, I don't know. Maybe I should. So far, this is a pretty big uptrend for basically everything, mainly alts and ETH. And now we have a 3% candle to the downside, right? But bounced off of huge support, like important support. Supportant. So that's for me like, well, that's good that you want to buy, right? So am I buying right now? No. Why? Because it's always different per person, of course. It could be that you feel like, man, I have a decent altcoin exposure at the moment. And my cash is like, yeah, okay, I'm comfortable with that, right? That's how I feel right now. So I can take a look at the altcoin market and be like, well, let's buy a, I don't know, 9% dip on near. Like, yeah, 9%. I don't know, is that enough? I don't know. For me, it isn't, right? This is the resistance. This is the support. Yeah, what happens in the meantime? Like, wow, okay, from Pico wick top, it is now down with 14%. Great. But if we go back to the range, that's down 47%. That's a big difference. And that's where I want to buy, right? If I would not have any altcoin exposure right now, or I feel heavily underexposed, then this is not the worst day to get into some alts. Right, but I would still be careful, right? For example, as an AVAX, right, and you might be like, "Wow, AVAX is down 6.5%." Yeah, but it's also kind of up with 110%, right? So instead of being up 146%, it's now up 110. Right? Is that a dip or is it less up? I don't know. For me, this is not really the time to get in, right? If there are certain alts, and it's not about the principle, right? If there are certain alts that I feel like, man, I don't have enough of this, and this is now really cheap, then yeah, sure, I'm gonna get in. But there is not a specific alt that I feel like, wow, what a huge discount at this moment necessarily. A few, but not because of this dip. Like CD5, for example, you know, this thing is really cheap right now. And I don't know, it could get cheaper, it might not. All I know is that, you know, and again, that's weird. Like if you dare to talk about this when things are this cheap, people call you crazy. But when you buy it right here, people are like, yeah, let's buy that. Everything okay over there, right? Like that's not how we should do it, right? So this is one that I feel like, man, like it's that I already have an allocation or a bag that I'm comfortable with, but no, other than that, it is a pretty fucking decent time to get into this one, right? Compared to where we came from. And there are a few more, right? But especially launchpad tokens, as like I said before, they run later in the cycle, right? People, why would they buy into pre-sales if their current bags are not really performing like render? Like, yeah, okay, I mean, this is outperforming like crazy, but over the last 2 years, basically, you know, it's kind of up, down, sideways, right? Nothing wild. So I get it that people say like, well, let me first make money on the altcoins that I already hold before I'm gonna get into newer alts, right? Therefore, launchpads are now really cheap, like CDFI, like ChainGPT, really cheap. And I think that if you really want to make money, you want to front run the market, right? And other people, and then this is the kind of stuff that you want to get into. But apart from that, you know, if I look at a Chainlink, for example, interesting coin, like biggest utility ever, basically, compared to any altcoin, actually. But yeah, I've drawn this like weeks ago, and people might feel like I'm getting impatient. I'm gonna just buy Link. It's now $21, right? It was sitting at 30 almost. It's cheap, right? You may want to wait another few weeks, and you can get it for 13. right? And it's a waiting game. But to be honest, I made some good money with crypto in this cycle. And it was mostly because I was waiting, right? I was waiting mostly. I was just waiting for a good entry, right? For weeks, maybe even months. And I got it. And I was waiting for months. And then I took some profits. And I was waiting for months, and then I'm going to get a new entry, right? And that's it. You don't want to, unless you're a trader, right? But when it comes to like investing / longer term trading, you don't want to overcomplicate and overtrade too much. So no real entries that I feel like, wow, this is what you want to get into. Now, what's my overall go-to chart to take a look at when it comes to altcoin entries? Well, of course, the individual alts, but mostly also the total tree, excluding stables, right? The altcoin market in total, basically. And if I look at this chart, I'm like, you know, this parallel channel has been 100% accurate since the last 3 years, right? 100%. Why ignore that now, right? So you don't have to wait for D bottom and D top, of course. But if you buy around the bottom and sell around the top, you do so great, right? Because let's say, and this is real, this is like the realest shit that I can give you right here. Let's say you start with $1,000, and let's imagine we buy the top and the bottom, right? Hypothetical for calculation purposes, right? You start with $1,000, let's say. And you are the type of person that says, I don't want to do too much. Actually, I don't want to do shit, right? And I'm going to just hodl. Put $1,000 in, which is now $4,700. That's nice, right? A lot of stress compared to like just buying Bitcoin and having like $8,000 instead of writing these alts. But okay, $4,700. You did fine, right? So far. But let's say you buy around the bottom, $1,000, $3,700. You sell, you wait for it, you buy it back, right? $3,700 goes times 3, right? The easy math, 10K, right? You sell, you buy back, and it now is times 2, 20K. I know, again, in hindsight, super hypothetical. If you bought the bottom, if you did it all perfect, I know, of course, you won't. Nobody won't. Nobody will. But it is a good example to show you like, hey, just buying and holding or being a little active can make 5x difference, right? Because the only thing that I've showed you was one buy, one sell, second buy, second sell, third buy. You made 5 trades. That's it. It's as good as just holding. But once every, like twice every year, you just press buy, sell. That's it. And other than that, you live your life and you just wait, right? You just wait. That's it. So, you know, and do it in a DCA way, right? You buy a little here, you buy a little here, you buy a little here, you buy a little here. So you won't make that exact 4x, whatever. You don't sell everything exactly there again, I know. But the difference is huge. And that shows me right now, like, man, in this channel that we are in right now, where are we? I mean, we are getting closer to the bottom, but I think that there's still a pretty long way down to it, right? And again, there's no guarantee that we go all the way to the bottom, right? Like we did over here, we didn't get there. Therefore, you want a DCA. You don't want to like sell everything and then wait, and it barely just doesn't get there, right? Timing the bottom, timing the top, it is gonna wreck the shit out of you. You don't want to do that. But I also feel like, man, this is not close enough for me yet, right? And you want to make sure that you are comfortable with that, because if I would be 100% in cash right now, then I will be sweating right now, because then I will feel like, whoa, what if it doesn't go? What if it bounces here, right? It could, like, it could definitely, like, here as well. We had a huge bounce here, right? Or here, right? You're thinking like, oh, we go there. No, we just go to the top. You don't want to be there. So you want to make sure really that you have a allocation, a ratio between cash and coins, that you feel like, man, if we go down, I'm cool. If we go up, I'm cool with it. If you are overexposed to cash or overexposed to coins, at a certain point, you're going to get uncomfortable and probably do something irrational, right? And that's how you will get wrecked. Like, that's, at least let me put it like that. That's what I've been through. That's what I've learned. So I am at the moment in an amount of cash that I'm happy with, and an amount of coins that I'm happy with. And so far we are now at around the middle. I'm okay. I'm just waiting. And I'm just waiting, right? Like, hey, if we go down here, this bull market support band, 50 MA, that's where I probably start buying, right? One, that's huge support, right? And two, it's close enough to the lows of this. But if we just bounce here, which we can, and we go up, then I'm also fine, because I have coins. And the amount of cash that I have left that I don't write up, I'm also cool with that, right? I'm fine with that. Plus, I have a plan with that as well. Right? I'm participate in new launches on these launch pads that I've showed. So, you know, if we go here, then you can, you know, bet that these launch pads and their IDOs will do nuts, right? So you want to have cash in that case. So that's the main chart that I am looking at right now. And yeah, then there's a lot of other stuff, right? There's the real, you know, there's also the alt season chart, basically. There's the dominance for Bitcoin, ETH, and stables, right? So the higher it is, the more fucked altcoins are. The lower it is, getting towards alt season, right? And we are still at this top range. So I'm like, man, altcoins, they are up around 5x on average from the lows, great. But this chart is from, you know, the Pico high, basically, well, also 5%, it's coincidence, but also down like 5%, great, right? But the range is 20%. So we barely are like, we never really got there. Like, only in December we had something that looked like it, right? But that wasn't it. So patience is the name of the game, really. It sucks to hear. Maybe you want to hear like, oh no, I want to take this trade. Believe me, often the best trade you can take is no trade. So that's what I'm doing right now. And you might feel like, whoa, that was not informational. I hope it actually was, right? Like I said, you don't want to overcomplicate it. You don't want to do too much. You don't want to zoom in on the charts too much. Like, if I now go to the hour chart on the altcoin market, then probably, yeah, it looks, oh, crash. Like, well, yeah, okay. But if you put it on the weekly chart, like, aren't we like, is like, I don't know, man. I don't really like see that crash over there, right? So it depends on your time frame as well. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. Thanks for watching. If you want to join the Alpha Factory, down below, you can get on a one-on-one call with me. We can go over your portfolio if you want. Like, is there something that, not financial advice, you can maybe change or work on an exit strategy already? Want to get an extra pair of eyes? Want to see exclusive videos? A lot more. Feel free to join. You are very welcome to be there. Blockchain Decoded is coming soon. So if you ever feel like, man, is this market overheated? When shall I be in what type of asset? That's an all-in-one platform that tells you, okay, brrr, Bitcoin season over. Now switch to that. Brrr, now the Pico top is in. Like, it's never perfect to predict, but we only use indicators that are so far 100% accurate. And combining them, it's like Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Chen. I always think Chen kind of sucks. Well, whoever, all fused together, and that's kind of unbeatable. So thanks for watching. Like the video again if you like the video. Take a good look at the recording studio. If you want to book a session, you can as well, but probably not. and have a nice day.